Hey man, how's it going?
Hey, Eric. Sorry about that.
Are you Phil?
Yeah, I'm Phil.
Nice to meet you, man.
Yeah, likewise. Thanks for the follow on Instagram.
Yeah, definitely. I follow a shit ton of running specialty stores just because before I was disabled, I used to be a consultant. So I traveled all over the US and I'd pop into running stores, do group runs. So I always
Cool.
follow them just because I never knew when I was going to be in the area.
Oh, cool. Where are you in California?
Atlanta.
Atlanta. Oh, wow. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, were you wondering about just running specialty in general or trail stuff?
Well, I mean, I noticed you are kind of trail specialty store first, and
Yeah.
you would be the first store I came across that does that. So I don't if you could tell me more about you guys.
Yeah. So we're actually coming up on our 10-year anniversary. We opened in,
Congratulations.
yeah, we opened in 2012. And man, I remember when we opened, a lot of folks were telling me it was a bad idea to just be focused on trail running shoes. Um, there weren't that many good trail shoes in 2012, if you can remember, 10 years ago. But luckily, I was working at Fleet Feet at the time, and I saw some shoes that were coming out in 2013, and so I thought, it was the Pearl Zumi line of shoes. If you remember, they
Hey,
had.
yeah, man. So when they dropped the run line in 2018, I bought like 15 pairs. I found them on closeout.
Yeah, so just coincidentally, I mean, good for them. That was when Timmy Olsen was running with Pearl Zumi, and he won Western States. And I still have the photo. So yeah, he won Western States 2012. Right there in the Pearl Zumi Trail N1, N for Nancy, N1, which was their more minimal of the line. But anyways, it was he used those shoes. It was the summer 2012. I saw the line of shoes, the whole line, and I was like, whoa, these shoes are great. You could have a store with just those shoes and you'd probably be okay, because I thought they were that good. And so yeah, it just happened quick, and I got a place. I opened faster than I thought it was possible, but just got lucky with the landlord finding a spot. I actually opened at the end of 2012, and didn't have much when we first opened. There's some pictures on Facebook. We were pretty sparse. Now we have a whole bunch of shoes, and when we first opened, yeah, maybe we had 10 women's pairs, 10 men's pairs or something. It was really slim pickings. But it was in 2013, I knew there were all these great shoes coming. The Pearl Zumis, there was the Scott Kinabalu was coming out, Montrail was coming out. That was the year Montrail came out, the Fluid Flex, the Fluid Feel, all these totally new Montrails that were unlike, they were just better trail shoes. They were softer, they were lighter. Hoka was coming out, which Hoka was already out. They were getting more mainstream, so we added them in 2013, the first full year we were open. Ultra, again, we just got lucky when we opened. We had I had the Lone Peak on the wall, just as an afterthought. I remember Brian Deckstead. I think hopefully that's the last name. Brian, one of the main guys from Ultra, Brian. He came by the store when there was nothing in here. I guess they were showing me the line for the following year. I can't remember, but he was here, and I really had no idea. I knew of Ultra, but I had no idea. They were small. We were small. I mean, we were going to be small. We weren't even open yet. And, I just said, what the heck? I'll try this Lone Peak shoe. And right away we started selling it. People came from miles around to just check it out because we were probably the first store to have it. There's another really cool store in the Seattle area at the time called the Balanced Athlete. They were in Renton. They have since closed, but they had some cool trail shoes back then. Not that many. So, I was hoping to have like better selection than they did. They might have had it, but so at the time, Ultra had one trail shoe, right? And then pretty quickly thereafter, I think it was December of 2012, they came out Superior. So they had two trail shoes. And so we just bought that one. And so all of a sudden we had two. And then they came out with like the Torn, maybe that same year, 2012, 2013, we just added the Torn. And then they came out with whatever, we just kept adding every Ultra model that they added. And as Ultra grew, we kind of grew with it, and more people were coming in for Ultras. We were selling lots of Pearl Zoomies. That Scott shoe that I mentioned, the Kinabalu, was a really hit for us, 2013. Yeah, it was just, again, nobody else had it in the area. And I think that's what I knew. Seattle's a big city. It had too many running stores at the time, and so I knew, I was like, hey, we can't just make another running store. Seattle had too many running stores: Super Jack and Jill, Fleet Feet, Sound Sports downtown, where I started selling shoes at Sound Sports, the Balanced Athlete. Like I mentioned, there's too many running stores around. And so I was like, yeah, we just got to be different. We just got to have all the cool trail shoes, and it'll work. It'll have to work. It's going to work, or we just won't exist more than a year or two. And so I was really hoping to, just make it a couple of years. I had no high hopes that we'd make it 10 years like we did now. But, luckily for me, the trail scene just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. 2013 was just the beginning, and just every year since, there's been more and more cool trail shoes, and Hoka's become mainstream, and there's 6 different Hoka trail models, and there's 6 or 7 different Ultra trail models, and there's just so many shoes to have that I felt like for the first couple of years, maybe I couldn't really, I felt like I had all the shoes I wanted, all the good shoes. And now I feel like there's just no way I could have every Sportiva, every Salomon, every Ultra, every Hoka, every North Face, every Topo. I just can't have them all.
And you would fill up an entire house with all those shoes.
Yeah, I just can't have them. But 10 years ago, there just weren't. Yeah, 10 years ago, there just weren't that many shoes, which was, so it's pretty amazing that I just got lucky timing wise. And so I think now if someone said, hey, I'm going to open a trail running store, people would probably be like, hey, great idea. But like 10 years ago, it wasn't that, was kind of a riskier idea.
Fortune favors the bold, man.
Yeah, and we sell road shoes. We have, like, it's great. Ultra sells road shoes and trail shoes. So we have Ultra's road shoes. We have Hoka's road shoes. We have Topo's road shoes. We have a few Brooks. So we've tried it all. We've tried New Balance. We tried Sock. We've tried Zoot shoes. We've tried, so many brands over there. Zoot was probably the most obscure, maybe, is the Zoot. But I mean, being a small store, we could try anything we want. If a salesperson comes in, tries to sell us shoes, and we like them, we try them. I mean, it's pretty easy. Yeah, so that's kind of, that's where we are now. It's a lot of shoes, a lot of trail runners. We still have up on the wall there, the 2 top shelves are the trail shoes, and the bottom shelves the road shoes. So we're basically about 2/3 trail shoes, 1/3 road shoes. And yeah, that's that.
I mean, you've come pretty far in 10 years. Now, since you're a trails company, how close is your location to the trails in your area?
So we're really close to Discovery Park, which is a big city park, a good beginners trail running place, a good place that a lot of the ultra runners who live in Seattle will just run during the week when they don't want to drive to the local trails. But off of I-90 from Seattle, I-90 ends in Seattle. And so you just hop on I-90 downtown, and it's 10, 15 minutes to some good trails. And you definitely can go further into the Cascades and get more mountainous trails in 45 minutes to an hour. But yeah, like 15 minutes. Once you hit the freeway, getting to the freeway is the hardest part. Once you get on the freeway, yeah, 15 minutes, you're at Cougar Mountain, Squawk Mountain, Tiger Mountain. Great trails, endless options, good vert. Like you get 1,000 to 1,500 foot climbs pretty easy. Tiger Mountain, you get 2,000 foot climbs. And then a little further away, Mount Si, Rattlesnake Mountain, you get like a few thousand feet climbs, like 3,000 feet. Yeah, so that's where a lot of the greats too, like Scott Jurek, lived in Seattle, lived on Capitol Hill, and just drove to Cougar, Tiger, Squawk, did Mount Si repeats. People just wake up at 4 a.m. or whatever and get no traffic, get out there, do their run, get back for work or whatever. It's pretty accessible.
That must be nice. I mean, in Atlanta, we have a few areas that are kind of like, we'll call it urban trails. They're kind of like tucked in here. Atlanta's the city of the trees, but there's still not a lot of trails to run inside the city.
Yeah, I haven't been to the Atlanta airport. Not any other.
Man, that place is a nut house.
Yeah. I got stuck. Yeah, I had to spend the night in the Atlanta airport with, I think at the time we just had three small kids, and my wife and I had to sleep in the Atlanta airport. It was brutal. Yeah, maybe one day. I grew up in Ohio, and I loved driving around. I just started in college doing road trips, and I went to Jacksonville, Florida, in the winter, because I wanted to go someplace warm in the winter. And just never went to Atlanta though. Never went to. I did, but
you grew up in Ohio.
Northeast Ohio, so pretty close to Lake Erie.
I grew up in Youngstown.
Oh yeah, I did.
It's a shithole.
Well, Bernie Kosar, Youngstown, the Boardman High. That was where the cross country regionals race was always. No idea if it's still there in the 90s. And they had the little Bernie Kosar, Cleveland Browns shrine. Because I guess he went to high school there in Boardman.
Yeah.
But
Bernie is messed up. He sounds like he's drunk all day long.
I guess he had some hard times there, but I still think of him as a Cleveland Browns quarterback only. But yeah, don't get back to Ohio much. Yeah, but yeah. How about yourself? Do you still have family there?
My mom, my dad, and my grandfather. But I mean, all my friends, they've all moved away, so there's really nothing there for me,
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah. So tell me more. I mean, what are your ambitions for the future, Phil?
Geez, yeah. So, like I said, it's a good time to be talking to me, because man, that coming up on our 10th anniversary, you'd think I would have had it figured out, or I would have had some sort of plan, but honestly, yeah, just the last few years have been so strange with the pandemic. You know, we're just so glad we're still here. Um, but yeah, now, like when I worked at, so I worked at running retail. I was just one of the clerks, one of the sales guys on the floor, selling folks their shoes for years, for 2002 until, 2002 until 2012. So for 10 years, I was just working retail at shoe stores, and I would always dream about owning my own store. And so now, fast forward, it's been 10 years of owning my own store, and what I daydream about now is having my own shoe, like having
That's awesome.
literally, like not necessarily my own brand. It would be great to have my own brand, but it would just be too hard to have a whole brand, like just one shoe, you know, like how Ultra started with one shoe. And I know it cost them probably a ton of money. I think I talked to those guys before. It's just, you know, you think it wouldn't be that hard to make one shoe, but I think it's a lot harder than I give it credit for. But you know, that was 10 years ago. Now I keep hearing people talk about the 3D printing, the you know, if there's ever a way to make shoes where you don't need the old way of having the lasts, each individual lasts, and you need the big factories in Southeast Asia to churn out all these shoes and all these midsoles, whatever. If there gets to be a way to make a shoe without that whole process, you know, then, you know, maybe, or, you know, Carson Footwear's in Portland, Oregon, they make their own shoes somehow. I got to talk to those guys, how they do it. It's a pretty small operation, but yeah, that would be so fun, just to literally be able to have my own shoe on the wall. And you know, the Newton brand started that way. I actually was in Boulder, Colorado a little bit, 2007, I think, when Newton was starting, and they had a store. The guys who started Newton had their own store. Like they just sold all the normal brands, and they're like, oh, here's our brand, here's Newton. And then eventually it just became, they just dropped their store, dropped trying to sell other stuff, and it was just all Newton all the time. And so that, you know, that was a while ago. But that's some inspiration there. The Carson Footwear guys, that's some inspiration. So it can be done. You know, I have no desire to have like a huge big brand or whatever. Like it would just be fun to make a shoe the way I want to make it, because, you know, you always nitpick the brands, like, why do they do this? Why did they make, well, how come they didn't do this? Why, you know, why this, why that? And so if you know, put your money where your mouth is, make your own shoe, you know, and just see if people will buy it. See if you could actually, you know, I feel like I know what people want to buy, right? After all this time.
I'd hope so,
right?
Yeah, just
yeah. That's you know, I can't figure out the color. No idea what color people are ever gonna like, but I feel like I know the type of shoe that would sell easily, sell well. So yeah, that's what I daydream about nowadays, but I haven't taken it too seriously because I have four small kids, and it's more
man,
about,
you got a tribe going on there.
yes, it's more about the kids and more about soccer lately. You know, it's just, yeah, more about doing soccer practice. And you know, so yeah, and that's the thing, like when 10 years of working retail, you know, no kids, you know, it was really easy to have time to daydream about, like, oh yeah, I love to have my own store. What would I do if I had my own store? What would I buy? What would I, you know, how would I decorate it? What would I do? Nowadays, I just feel like I don't have that much free time to sit and think. So it's good that I'm talking to you, because now you're getting me thinking about
spitball it and, you know, walk yourself through it.
yeah. And that, yeah, like the other thing too, like, yeah, I daydream, like so then I would think, oh, maybe it'd be too hard to have my own shoe, but surely 10 years, like surely I could get one of these brands I sell to make a Seven Hills shoe, like just a model. Just give me a model called the Hoka Seven Hills or the Brooks Seven Hills. Come on, guys, somebody give me a model. That'd be close, right? That maybe give me a little design influence. That'd be the easy way to have my own shoe, right? Like just give a little design influence and have a little name tribute and call it good enough. But who knows? I don't know. But yeah. But yeah, the other thing too, I just thought, Brett Rivers is a nice guy. He had San Francisco Running Company. He started right after we did. So I'd always joke with him because they were a lot bigger, more, San Francisco Running Company, probably more well known. And but we were first. We were a few months before they opened. They opened in, I don't know, February. So they opened in 2013. We were a few months prior. So I got that. I always was like, hey, you might be bigger and better, but we were first. And so he's since moved on and is a design consultant for North Face. And so I thought, hey, geez, great gig there. Just help make shoes and get paid to give your expertise and you work with so many people over the years and you hear all the complaints and all the positives about footwear. You got a good solid understanding of what people want. And so yeah, it sounds like it could be fun to do. Brooks is local, so if I got a gig like that at Brooks, I wouldn't have to go too far. Could just help design some cool Brooks shoes with some buddies because I already know some of those Brooks guys. But yeah, so I don't know. That's probably something like that. Too, like maybe the first couple years I was open, I thought, ooh, I gotta have a Seven Hills Part 2. Gotta have 2 Seven Hills stores. Can't just have one. Gotta have 2. Gotta have 3. Maybe there'll be a whole bunch of them. But I really kind of feel like, yeah, one's enough. The it's just too, story. Yeah, it'd be easier to, sell some shoes, like have a name, like have the Instagram following and develop it into like maybe trying to sell more through Instagram or on a better website. We really haven't tried to sell stuff online. When we sell things on Instagram, it's like, hey, here's a new Hoka Tecton, message us if you want a pair, and someone will message us and we'll say, oh, here's an invoice, pay this invoice, we'll ship it out to you. So stuff like that, like it's easy to do when it's like 3 or 4 orders a week, which would be hard to do if it was like, you couldn't do that hundreds of times a week if we were getting that many requests to sell stuff through Instagram or whatever. But
yeah, that's a lot to take in.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't know. Like I said, it's just the store now. I'm glad it's still here. I'm glad we made it through the tough times, and I'm definitely glad all the trail companies, all the shoe companies are still churning out really, really awesome new shoes. I just saw the North Face guy, local sales guy, was in showing the 2023 shoes, and they keep innovating, they keep tweaking. Everyone's trying. Like nobody's standing pat and just churning out the same old boring stuff. Everyone's trying new technologies, new material. So
you got to innovate or you die.
Yeah, that makes it exciting. And I never know what's going to come next. Like I never know. We got lucky and got Ultra. We got pretty early in the running with Ultra and Hoka, but hey, maybe something else. Like something else might come up and be the next great thing for the next 10 years, and maybe we'll get on that train early and ride it for a decade. Who knows? But yeah. So that's a whole lot of rambling. I'm good at rambling.
That's okay.
And if everyone notices the life of retail. Oh, one other thing I want to do is write a book about the life of retail. That was something I thought of that. That was like before. That was like my great idea before the store idea. I was like, yeah, I've worked in retail long enough. Let's write a book about somehow. I don't know, but I'm literally sitting in the store, and we've been open this whole time, and well, not a soul has walked in. But so that's why I could ramble on. And that's what's great about we're a small store. If someone comes in, they try on 10, 12 pairs, 15 pairs, 20 pairs, I'll talk to them all day if no one else is here. It's just kind of like I wanted to give it a small, I always wanted to be just a small shop where people could come in and hang out and chit chat and take as long as they wanted to talk or try shoes on or to ask us advice or whatever, just so that's
Yeah, man, it sounds like the black barber shops, except it's a running store.
yeah lots of definitely lots of talking about what you're training for, all the nutrition talk and all the race strategy talk. It's fun. Yeah.
Well, I mean, even though you rambled, I mean, people watching want to hear you, not me. That's the thing. So
I get long-winded. Sometimes it's funny. My wife says I never talk enough, and then I'm like, I guess I get all my talking out of the way at the shop. Talk too much at the shop, and then when I get home, I'm all talked out. But
yeah. Well, hey, man, thanks for the interview. And even though you thought you rambled, it was good stuff. I liked it. It was very informative.
Yeah, I do have to. Just say thank you for the opportunity, and hopefully everything goes well with your series. You said you're doing you had a whole bunch of these interviews.
Yeah, I kind of handpicked them based on what I thought. I don't pander to subscribers. I do what I want to. There's really no rules. I just do whatever the hell I want.
Oh,
and
good.
people typically, it just turns out that people actually like what I do. So it works out.
Well, I guess I should ask, because what's your favorite trail running shoe? Do you have a favorite?
It was the Pearl Azumis.
Oh, Pearls. And then, but so that's like when those went away, we definitely had that void there. Like everyone wanted what's like it, what's close to it, what can I get, what can I move into that's like that. And we never really found. It's funny, there was never anything quite
comparable to it.
But I feel like things really progressed. I think maybe the Hoka Torrent 2 is close, but the whole industry went bigger and more, like everything is more cushion, more stack height. And so that it's fine. Everyone always reminisces and wants the shoe from before, but I bet now if the Pearl Azumi Trail and 2s came out, it'd be a tough sell now because people want more cushion, they want more shoe. But it would be interesting. I always thought, like, that first couple of years, I thought surely they're going to sell their design idea to another brand and they'll churn out, they'll have some Puma shoes that look suspiciously like Trail and 2s or something, but it never happened. And the North Face shoes theoretically are tied into the Pearl Azumi heritage somehow, although they never quite felt, the geometry or something might have something to do with the old Pearl Azumis. But they're pretty different. All the Vective shoes out now are totally different than the than the pearls.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I miss them. So what are you gonna do?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thanks, man.
Yeah, Phil, take it easy. Enjoy the weekend, man.
Yeah. Yeah, you too.